Hi and welcome to another episode of the Getting Things Done podcast from Vital Learning. I am Morten and I am here with my good friend and colleague Lars Henriksen. Privet, Lars.
Privet, Morten. Good to see you as always, and good to be with our listeners out there. As always, we start off with reminding you of the purpose of this podcast, which is to help you learn GTD or become even better GTDers. So as always, we hope that this episode supports you in that. If this is your first time listening, you're new to GTD, we always recommend you go back and listen to episodes 1 through 6 to get an introduction to the basics of GTD. And today's episode is number 77 of the podcast. And the episode today is an interview.
Yes, it is. It is the interview with the Norwegian investor, successful investor, Morten Klein, and his GTD practices and how he's been using getting things done to get more in contact with what he finds important in life and how he can be more effective executing on what he thinks is the most important in life. So I think without further ado, we'll just roll the episode. Here you go. Meet Morten Klein.
And now, our special guest.
I have the great privilege to welcome a long-term friend of mine, Morten Klein. Welcome, Morten, to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you, Morten. It's very nice to be here.
Yeah, Morten is a successful investor. He's a business owner. He's a father, he's a husband and a grandfather and a friend to many. So thank you for being here, Morten. My first initial question to you is, we met first time after a TV show that I attended about creating a distraction-free phone. And that was something you liked, and you grabbed hold of me, invited me for a meeting. And how long time ago was this? We had a discussion before, and what attracted you after? What made you decide to learn getting things done?
I think first of all, I knew that personally I had too many balls hanging around me that I couldn't take down, and but I think the most important thing was that every day I was fighting to control so many impressions I got, so many calls I got, so many decisions I had. And when I saw you on the TV show, I really felt that you was talking about placing, it's so many, you get so many emails, you get so many social media where you get contact and you get distracted of all this. And I really liked what you talked about, and that was my reason for contacting you, Morten. And I did. I said, I hope this guy can help me with that. And then we met. Yeah.
And as the time progressed, the way you learn getting things done was through coaching from me. And I would like to ask you, because when you learned GTD the first time, your approach to getting things done is different than when you've been practicing GTD for some time. And if we go back to then, what was your GTD practice when you started, and has it changed since then?
Yeah, it's absolutely changed. I think when we first met, Morten, I didn't know, because you told me when I contacted you that you had GTD as a tool that you could help me with for changing my life. And I said let's do it, and we met, and I think the first impression I got of GTD was how I remember when you asked me to write down everything that I had in my head, and we started, and we did it on the walls in my room,
Yeah, some huge whiteboards. Yes.
Yeah, it
I
was a
remember that
huge
very well.
whiteboard, and we filled up the whiteboard. That was huge, and I think after then we was going around the rest of the room, and I think it was hundreds of cases I had in my head, and you asked me how do you control this, and I said I don't control them; they control me, and I think that I had a situation in my life where I was successful. I think I was very good to every day when a lot of things fall down in my head, I could resolve all the problems. I had a lot of meetings, but I was very stressed, and my family used the word they called job head. I don't know if you can use it in English, but
Yeah.
it was impossible to get contact with me for them for years. I didn't answer them. I was sitting in the sofa. I was thinking. I got stressed. But in another way, it was working, and I felt I had in one way control over my life. But after starting with GTD, I first of all, it was so easy from day one when we start the coaching. It was so easy to start with it. So from the first second, from the first 2 seconds, I felt that I spent 1 second less on what he was doing. And after 1 week, my wife, my children asked, "What happened? Hello, Dad." And I said, "Hello, family. I'm here." So it was a sort of very quick change in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think that is what I remember most. Is when we started with it, it was like everything. I think in the first meeting we took everything out of my head. Everything I had inside my head. It was like if you have a computer, and when the RAM in the computer start to get too much in the RAM, the computer goes slow. And I think my head has been going slow for a long time. So it was like I wake up and had nothing in my head. I really start to love to organize my life in a very easy way. And I think after 2 weeks, everybody around me said that, "What happened with you? You have so much energy." I had this process the first 1 year where we was working a lot with getting control of things. I had the coaching from you, Morten, that was fantastic, but I also think a course give the same value. But for me, it was I really started to love getting control over things, and I think at that time I had around, I think it was 120 phone calls every day from people. I answered everyone, and I think today I'm a business owner. I have working with a lot of people, but I have maybe 2-3 phone calls every day if I take away from my wife.
Yeah.
But I think I've got a really good control over things. I stopped. I really learned to how I priority different things in my life, and I think I'm much more effective in what I'm doing. I'm much more controlled, and I can turn on and off my job life. I can be private when I want to be private, and it's, I think it's totally changed. So today it's more about controlling everything, but still I'm learning about GTD daily.
Me too.
I'm still reading a little bit about it, but I feel that I learn things, and one of the things I really love to do is actually talk about it with other people. And I think the good thing with GTD is it's not only me as an investor, as a business owner, but people around me start doing it. My daughter, my employees around me start doing it, and my daughter she said the first time I said to her, you should try GTG. And she said that I don't need it because I don't have so much to do. I'm 20 years old and I have control. But you know, you have also been coaching her, and she had a course. And I think that today I can tell her everything. I can tell her to do something, and I'm 100% sure that whatever she talks about, whatever I ask her for, I don't need to. When I send an email to her, I don't need to put saying that I'm waiting for her reply, because I know she will reply. And she really loves GTD as a student and now as a work when she started work. And she says that GTD has, even if she had zero from the beginning, she has so good control now and using GTD so much. So it works for everybody. But the best thing is still learning things and still understanding things in a different view. Yeah.
Just to comment that you know, the difference between, you know, if you look at it as a student of GTD, your perspective is different than your daughter's, and as you said, she don't have a lot of things to do now, but this will change as you grow up. Life gets more and more complicated. More and more responsibilities, and to learn GTD as a young person is very smart. It is very good for your future you. You're kind to yourself. So I know so many young people who learn this, saying that, okay, I know now that my professional life starts is easier for me than my peers, because I don't keep things in my head. I'm not stressed like the others, which is a very good thing. So I remember when we started working together, very quickly after you got the grasp of the 5 steps, you got control over everything. We started working with your higher horizons, what we call the horizons of focus model. And I remember you embraced that vividly, like you loved that work. And for those people who don't know what we are talking about, you know, getting things done have 2 axes. It's an x-axis, which is the 5 steps that gives you control: capture, clarify, organize, reflect, and engage. And then you have the y-axis, which is the horizons of focus, where you try to get in touch with your purpose of your life, your values, your principles. How does it look as a vision? What long-term goals do you have? What areas of responsibilities do you have? And then back to ground level, what projects are you working with now? What's your next action? So it is a coherence between what you do in your everyday life and what you want to achieve. And I know, since we work together, this has been transformational for you on so many levels. Can you just make some comments on how this has changed your perspective? Yeah,
absolutely. It was, I think, the balance between your work life and your private life. It's not easy when you doesn't have control. It's always work that comes first. I can't explain how it works. I love my family, I love to be with my family, but in my head, when I had a lot of things, not that control, it always work that was most important. And I think that even if it's not more important, it feels like your family you have around you every day, but the chances not chances, but things happening on work, it's there now, and the family you can always fix. It's not.
It's an illusion. Yeah. A lot of divorced people can tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I felt that I should train a little bit more. I should or exercise, and it's a lot of things I should do that I just put on hold. I kept it in my head on hold. But I think when I got this focus on what's important, what's not important, I think that I stopped actually a lot of I took some choices. What's important for me? Who is important? I learned that by GTD that it's not. Don't spend time on things that are not necessary to spend time on. It was a big process for me to actually, because I think every day you take a lot of choices built on what you call it, reflex or
reflex. It's correct. So reflex. You make choices based on what you've done before. You don't reflect on them. But
but if you have taken some decisions, because I still remember one of the most important things was when I was going through a process that GTD actually tells you to do is when what's important for you in life, who is important for you, and I remember one time when you are dead. Actually, it was actually a quite tough process to think about it. But when you are dead, who do you want to be in your funeral, and what do you want them to say? And I think that was, I was sitting down there thinking, I want my business partner to be there, and I want him to say that Morten was a guy that I could trust. Or I want my stepdaughter being there, and I want her to say that Morten was a guy that was treating me and his other children the same way. I wanted my granddaughter to say that my granddad always had focus when I was coming into the room. I got his attention, and he was always there for me. And I started to think about this, and also it was some people that I thought was, I don't care if he's coming in my funeral. Okay, what I learned, why should I spend time on that guy when I'm living if I don't want him to be in my funeral? So it was a process to see which people that is important for me, and what I really, how do I want to live my life. If that is I want them to say when I'm dead, I actually have to live my life that way. And I have an example. I have an example that's quite good, because I was a chairman of the board in a Nasdaq company.
I love this story.
and I was sitting there. I was not sitting there because they were sitting in Stockholm and I live in Oslo. And they calling me 11 o'clock and say, Morten, we are sorry, we are sitting here 10 persons now. We know the meeting are starting 12 o'clock, but it has been some wrong information. So can you start now with us on it was a Zoom meeting. And I said, I'm sorry, guys. I know you are sitting there. I know all of you are important people and have a lot to do, but I cannot be there before 12 o'clock. And I said, wow, the CEO said, well, why can't you be there before 12? I'm sorry, guys. It's 11. I have to go. I have an appointment. Sorry. I put down the phone. I called back 12 o'clock, and they said, and they was really angry on me. What's so important for you in your life that you put 12 of us people? We are quite important also, and we have been sitting here for 1 hour waiting for you. What was so important that we had to wait for you? And I said, I'm sorry, but I had told my 3-year-old grandchild that we was going in the toy store, and they said, what? You're going to your 3-year-old grandchild? Could you do that later? And I said, guys, you guys understand why I couldn't come in a meeting, but she is 3 years old, and if I promised her to go to the toy store, she doesn't understand why I couldn't do it because I had a board meeting. So I had planned it, and it was important for me. They get really angry because they felt at that time that I had fucked up with their time, if it's, I could use that word, but they felt that I had used their time. I had done something wrong because I go to the toy store with my grandchild. But today, many of these guys are walking around in Stockholm and tell everybody else about Morten. He is a guy that had found the value in his life. Because when I explain for them, they start to get interest in GTD, and many of them are practicing GTD today. They understood, wow, this is how you do it. This is how you get control of your life. This is how you find out what's important for you. And I think if I hadn't go through the process that we have done in GTD, with GTD, I could never taken that decision. But for me, it was totally clear. It was, it had been different if it was, I should meet them 11 o'clock, but I think putting myself in a position to take that decision is what GTD has done for me. And I think that reflects everything in my life. That reflects that me and my wife started to have focus on a lot of different things. And I think, it was maybe answering your question.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. I remember, I'm just going to briefly mention that you've been doing the Horizons of Focus work for understanding what's valuable for you as a person, but you also did it with your company so that you kind of recalibrate where are we going? And I guess that you found that valuable as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing is that in your private life, but when you start using GTD to understand the values in your company, we was going through. I think that was a very good process. Which values does we have in the common company? What is the purpose of running this company? What is the vision? And I think that we start looking at the goals we have. What's important, not important. I think it changed a lot of how I looked on doing business, and I think that I saw that a lot of things taken from the GTD. These values I actually had in my life before, but I didn't have control, and I think it had changed a lot. It's a lot of these processes that start growing, make company growing, and we did a lot of it. And as an example, it's this to always have a sort of next step on what you are doing. I think that's very important for me today. It's not the case. Let's say that somebody say that one of my goals is I really want one day a private jet. That's a goal, and you actually, or it could be other goals. It's saying that I really want that nice car one day. But if you doesn't have a next step how to reach that goal, I think you have to break maybe a big goal it's 12 to 24 months in future. You put the time on it. I say, okay, I want that car in 12 to 24 months. Okay, instead of putting it back in my head or forget it and hope one day that suddenly the car will be there, you have to start working. You have to make some projects around how to reach that goal. This is, of course, learned by using GTD. And you see that small steps actually make you reaching the big goal. But let's say it's and I know today that after 5 years working with GTD, all my goals I put private or in job in work, I have reached, and I've been working with it. And if I can't do it myself, because it also, if you have a goal, you have a project few projects to reach the goal. It's also all about responsibility for reaching the goal or doing the responsibility. If I can't do it, I have to find somebody else to do it. And together, me and my partners at job or employees, we do the projects together. Everybody of us have responsibilities for reaching the goal, and it's nothing that doesn't have a next step, because that I learned with GTD is next step is so important, because if you say that contact Morten, let's say I have put down in my to-do list, contact Morten. It's actually not a next step behind that. But if I say contact Morten by sending him an SMS, it's like then I have taken a decision to contact you, but I also taken a decision to how, and I also put it in a system that I actually have to do it. And that's also a good thing with GTD. If it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it. If it takes more, find time later to do it, but you have control. Don't keep it in your head, because then you will forget it. So it changed a lot for me. It changed a lot of my way of being a person, and I have got much more time to do what I really like to do in my life. And this week I've been playing poker, the Norwegian Championship in poker. And actually, I have 0 phone calls this week from other people, because I got control of my life. People know who they will contact when I doesn't have time, and I'm not stuck anymore. And the best thing when I'm thinking about it today is actually it was total action from day one. After we met, from the first 2 seconds, I had learned. I had 1 more second to spend. So it's that's the best thing with it. It doesn't take time to get into it, so you can start. Of course, you have to invest. You have to invest to do it, because I think when you start to doing GTD, it's all about that you have a focus why you are doing it, find out why you are doing it, and I think the good thing is actually when you, because you start from day, as you said to me, I remember, Morten, it will be very easy to learn GTD, but it will take you around 2 years to understand it 100%, but you will have effect from day one. And that is true. I had an effect from day one, and every minute I spend on GTD from day one, I had 30 seconds more to spend on my family and other things that I really, or work or whatever. It was very good process. Yeah.
I wonder if we can go back to the if you want to, you talked about buy a car or to get a car, and that's next steps, next actions. And I remember very vividly that when we did coaching in your office, my eyes fell on your counter. On that counter, there was a brochure for a Learjet. And I remember I asked you, have you considered buying one? And you said, no, something. You did not. You were not very clear on that. And then I remember we went for your Higher Horizons work when we talked about what's important for you. And I also remember that we started talking about, we did an exercise, and I will not divulge the numbers here, but we did an exercise that your net worth was at that time X amount of billions, and then we divided that on how long time it took you approximately to achieve that and to get your hourly rate. And we found that was quite a high number. That your cost for 1 hour of Morten Klein's time it's valuable. And then hanging around on airports might not be the best way to spend that time. Maybe you should spend it on doing what you think is most important. And that, I think, at least I in my head, started a process in you. And later on, you got a Learjet. Actually, you bought a company, airline company. And how many Learjets do you have now in that company? And I think you have plans for even more. How many do you have?
Yeah, it's first of all, we have today 4 Learjets, and I put down a goal that I wanted a Learjet in 12 to 24 months, and I got it in 12 to 24 months. Even if I dreamed about it for 5 years before I met you, we actually you learned me how to put down the goal, how to create a project around it, and how I could do it. But of course, that process we did was quite good because I was traveling 250 days per year.
Yeah.
I have done it for many years. I was spending a lot of time on airports. I was spending a lot of time at hotels. I was sitting. I spent so much time that I could use on other things in my life, and I think that first of all, today I'm only traveling 100 days a year. I spend more time home, and half of that is playing poker. So no, I'm traveling 1/5 of what I did, but I feel I can do more. So I also learned which meetings that was important. But back to the Learjet, it was, I put down a goal around it, and today we have an airline company called Airwing, and we are doing a lot of ambulance traffic. We have a project called Green Wing, how we can be the first airline company in Europe that are 100% green. So it's a lot of projects around that. But before it was a dream that I probably never would touch. Because you have a lot of dreams in your life, and you have to find out which dreams are realistic, which dreams are not realistic. So instead of have 10 dreams, you should have 4 and do something with it. And I couldn't do that without GTD. Absolutely not. It's so many things that I see that you really need to have focus, and you have to. And it could also be small things. It could be spending more time with your family members. It could be your dogs. I have dogs I really love to spend time. But you learn that. I think the most important thing with GTD actually is, now I've said a lot of things that's most important, but I think priority, the correct thing to correct time without thinking about other things. I think that is so fantastic. It's if I want to spend 3 hours with my dogs walking in the forest, I can do that without thinking about other things, because I know that when I'm back from that trip, I turn on my GTD and I have full control again. So, but also, I maybe make it sound very easy to do all this, and but you have to work with it. And but even if you have 1 or 2 weeks that you lose a little bit focus, you have very easy way back to get control again. You every week you sit down, and even if you have not been doing it for a couple of weeks, you start feeling losing a little bit of control. Blah, blah, blah. It's very easy to get back, because we have, of course, David Allen probably knew that it was not so easy to have control every second in your life. So if you're losing it a little bit, it's you're not finished with it. It has rules. It's easy to get back on track. So yeah.
If you were talking to David now, he would say that getting things done is made so that you can have the freedom to throw yourself out of control as often as you feel you need to, or feel the urge to, and that you have a systematic way to get it back into control without being stressed in the meanwhile. So we're really good. I'm sorry?
No, it's I was...
Okay, I just want to ask you, my second to last question is, as an investor, specifically, I know that we have investors listening to us. So what gains do you have with GTD? I think you might have explained a lot of that before, but as an investor specifically, what would you say that, what has been your specific gain from GTD?
I think most of all, when you are an investor, a lot of people contacting you and ask you if you want to invest in different projects. I think I get more. I knew what I want to invest in. I want to invest in things that I know something about, and I know exactly which type of companies I want to invest in now. A little bit before, I took meetings with everybody, and okay, that looks good. it was not so many. I didn't have the real structure of how I wanted to do investment, but it was successful. But today I've cut 80% of the meetings because I know that it's not the part of the strategy of the company. It's not the part of the value of the company. We know all these values. So before a lot of these investments reach me, I have people that stop them from me, so I don't have to think about it. But having a focus on what I want to invest in, which type of companies, and that structure around it, it's helped me a lot, actually. It's and still, of course, I can do bad investments, but that's probably not based on my GTD. It's based on other things. But I think, it's a part of making it very easy to say yes or no to.
So if I understand or hear you correctly now, is that your decision making has been the quality of the decisions you make has gone up, and so you make more of the right decisions in investments. Is that correctly understood?
Yeah, that's correctly, because I think that knowing that I have more time to focus on the correct things. So absolutely, yeah. And it also, it's easier to I remember we every time I meet a new company that want to present something for me or something, I actually put up my GTD. Some of them, I remember we got a lot of this. You gave me something like this once. Different
system guide says.
That I'm still using. So and I think that's very smart of me using them, because I when I meet a company, I start asking them questions about their values, what's important for me to know about, because I know what's important for me to know about investing in companies, because I think you can have good plans, good projects, but if it's not the correct people behind, they will never succeed.
This has very compatible DNA. If you
and in the other way, you can have good people with a bad project. So I think I have some questions I'm asking them. And if I start to decide to invest in that company, I take them through a process, what they should think about. I help them a little bit, and that also makes. I think a lot of these companies we have invested in, they are very happy to getting us as investor, because we know what's important for them. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my last question for you now is for someone who's just GTD curious and are listening to this podcast, what would you say about getting things done to them? Is it?
What I would say is you should attend a course, or you should get coached, because I think that GTD will change your life for sure if you start doing it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Put it down and do it. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for that last words, Morten, and thank you so much for being part of our podcast. I know your time is very valuable to you and to your family and to your company. So thank you so much for attending and being part of this. And I wish you good luck with your investments in the future. So take care.
Yeah. Today it's all about playing poker, so in the Norwegian Camp, I will do that. Thank you.
Okay. Good luck. Or no, well, how do you say that? You don't say good luck, do you? Really? Break a leg?
Yeah. Break a leg. It's okay.
Okay, break a leg.
Okay.
Take care. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was, I think, a very good interview. What is your impressions, Lars, from this?
Yeah, absolutely. Very, thoughtful and an interesting perspective from a life probably different from most people, but very, interesting perspectives and experiences with GTD.
And it's not to most people to buy a company and now have 3 Learjets. So that's not normal for.
You don't do that on an average Tuesday, really?
No, I don't. So, but and I'm very grateful for Morten, who is attended this and was so open about who he is and what is important for him and how he practiced GTD. And what I didn't say in the interview is he's also been a big inspiration for me, because he's let's call it transformation from the day we met until who he is now it's inspiring. We are here to help people change their lives to the better, and I think Morten has felt that we've helped him with that. So thank you, Morten, for being here.
Yeah, and thank you also to the coaching clients in general, because they always add perspectives, and we learn so much from you guys as well. There is so much value and so much input and perspective and reflections, and so thank you all for that.
Yes, indeed. So, Lars, will you take us out?
Let me do that with a quick reminder to head on over to VitalLearning.EU, have a look around, learn more about the new company. So because on that site you'll find information about all the things we can now help you with, and there'll be links you can find your way to the local country websites as they go online slowly. Norway is there, Denmark slowly fast approaching as well, working our way through it. So you'll find all the interesting stuff about the different things we can offer now, including, of course, all of the information about GTD, coaching, seminars, etc. If you're outside the Nordics, cruciallearning.com is a good place to go to find your local partners. And as always, as of the last 3 or 4 or 5 episodes at least, don't forget to mark off your GTD Summer Camp dates. June 17 to 18, 2023. That's when we'll have the summer camp in Denmark. Sign-ups not ready yet. I'll be sure to let you know when they are, so we'll hopefully meet you all there. And lastly, as always, we hope that you find these episodes valuable. If you do, then be sure to leave us a rating on whatever platform you're using, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Audible or wherever it might be. It really helps the discoverability, so thank you so much for that.
Yes, indeed. We are very thankful for all who rate us, and we actually have a higher rating than the official Getting Things Done podcast now. I know I'm putting myself out there, but at least on Spotify we have. So thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take care and stay safe and stay productive. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.